Well, welcome, Insight Dialogue community, spiritual friends. It's delightful to be restarting our Sunday Sangha series. And it's delightful to see so many friends on my screen. Just taking it in. So this morning, we're launching this new series with a focus on the whole life path. And this was decided because we wanted to celebrate that it's been 5 years since Gregory Kramer's book, A Whole Life Path, was released. And so we'll have nine sessions between now and next May to celebrate the path and the layperson's guide to leading a Dhamma-infused life. My name is Nancy. I'm going to be the Zoom host for our Sunday Sangha. Our facilitators for today are Anita and Jan, both very seasoned Insight Dialogue teachers and dear friends to each other and dear teachers to me for sure. I can let you know that we will practice in dyads as the session continues, and there will always be someone in the main room. So if you have any distress in your dyads, you can always press the leave and come back to the main room, and Anita and Jan will be there to support you. I'm going to let Anita and Jan introduce each other or themselves and take it away from here. I hope I haven't missed important information. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, so much. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. I'd like to just say a few words of appreciation, mostly for Jan. Once in a great while, we have the good karma to meet someone who embodies the path in ways that inspire, and also by who they are and how they are, and then encourage us to be our best, to be dedicated, and to be able to call this person a friend also is a great, great blessing in my life. So to both study and practice the Dhamma, and we've also had years of serving the community. So doing this in the company of Jan is true embodiment of nothing left out. And for this, I believe with all my heart that the world is a better place. So thank you so much, Jan, for this opportunity to meet regularly with you in preparation for this time. Very generous.
Thank you, dear Anita. And to everyone, great welcome. It's such a joy to see you coming on, and the size and energy of the community today of practice really opens my heart. And I just want to remember that this is also the 5th anniversary of Sunday Sangha, and that came out of a moment between Anita and me. We were concerned about the pandemic and the kind of isolation and fear that was rampant at the time, and how are we going to support the community? And we imagined together this Sunday Sangha, an opportunity for everyone invited to come together and practice, and to hear voices of different people offering practice. And this global community, which has grown so since then, it's just lovely to remember that the seed for this Sunday Sangha came between us in our care and concern for each other and ourselves and the whole community. And that really represents Anita's deep, deep path of offering to this community. I really can't think of anyone more dedicated of the path of dedication to the Insight Dialogue practice and community. Just tireless energy and just beautiful growth. Just having watched you over time, Anita, is really one of the great blessings. And to be able to share in the service and in this study together, one of the great elements of insight dialogue practice and offering is co-offering and co-teaching. And I don't think we've really emphasized how important this is for relational practice. And this, it's not just for today, it's our lives get sort of focused together, as you all know, if you're offering, with Dharma study and life contemplation and kind of back and forth and pulling so many things into this offering that we hear and see along the way. And this opportunity a number of times to have worked together has really deepened our spiritual friendship, which Greg and I are calling Dharma friendship right now, Dhamma friendship. And I'm extremely grateful and blessed to have shared this time in this life, be in this lifetime together. And maybe there'll be more, and maybe there've been more, but at least I know of this one. Thanks.
Thank you, Jan. We like to begin these sessions with a short guided sit, which I'll be guiding today. So we'll begin this, since this is the first session of the Sunday Sangha series, I had this idea that we would open with a dedication, setting an overarching intention for these 9 months of practice together. And I couldn't find anything richer and more heart-connected for me to offer than to read to you the dedication that is in Greg's book, A Whole Life Path. And the dedication reads like this. This book is dedicated to the global communities committed to following the thread of spiritual friendship to its fruition on a whole life path of kindness, social responsibility, and liberating wisdom. So I was sitting with that and I thought, that's the dedication, except I want to change it a little bit. So with Greg's permission, I changed the first few words of his beautiful dedication to reflect this particular occasion of coming together as a Sangha for the start of this series. So the revised version for this day is, this practice and the Sangha that forms around it is dedicated to the global community committed to following the thread of spiritual friendship to its fruition on a whole life path of kindness, social responsibility, and liberating wisdom. And Jan and I already touched on how fortunate we are, all of us here today, to have this opportunity to come together across the globe in practice, supported by the liberating wisdom of the Eightfold Path. So please accept this invitation now to simply settle into a posture that supports you to be here, that supports you to bring awareness to current sensations in the body, to current feelings and mind states as they arise, peak, and pass away. And we'll sit for a bit together, settling into being here with a shared intention. Let's follow this thread of spiritual friendship on a whole life path, kindness, social responsibility, and liberating wisdom. Pausing and accepting as best we can what is here now. Opening and attuning again and again to just this. Supported by the Insight Dialogue meditation instructions, we have multiple entry points in which to skillfully return to the path and each other, slowly opening to external experience, toggling awareness between internal and external. And again, quoting Gregory from the book, as each relationship blossoms from the individuals involved and it interacts with other individuals, the resulting aggregation forms a group. As a group forms, a dynamic volition also forms. That is, groups are loci of action. Society emerges from many individuals, relationships, and groups. So let us emerge now from individuals sitting in silence to bringing awareness to the screen and being part of a group dedicated to a path of kindness, social responsibility, and liberating wisdom. And from here, we bring volition to this relational practice that includes listening deeply and speaking the truth as we explore how to integrate and engage the teachings individually for our own benefit, our own well-being, of course, sharing it in relationship to others, and further outward, contributing to society at a time when our precious planet cries so loudly for our awakening and wise action. Thank you for your practice today.
Thank you, Anita. Anyone knows where that thumb is coming from? It just keeps seeing a thumbs up. So dear friends, and I see so many of you, such a rich Sangha. And gaze could fall on each, on the richness, and then the whole, as Anita was saying, what makes Sangha. But on this occasion of the 5th anniversary of the publication of Greg's book, I actually retrieved my copy from the bookcase to reread it and paused on my own words of endorsement. And quote, I imagine that this book can be read, digested, and contemplated again and again at many stages and moments of our lives. How true, how true. We may reach out to this book at any time to reflect on our own stage of maturation, for inspiration, or in moments of despair or confusion, to reconsider, refresh, renew, or reconnect to a sense of direction, purpose, and faith. As I reread the book, which I'm glad I had to for this offering today, I became aware of how so much has unfolded and changed over these past 5 years. For myself and loved ones, difficult challenges of aging, illness, and death. And at the same time, a beautiful ripening of spiritual Dharma friendships in this community and beyond. Not without bumps and conflicts for sure, but a ripening, a deepening. And in our world, the challenges, crises of terrible wars of domination, severe attacks on democracy, and extreme climate emergencies. To name a few of the challenges of this historical moment, globally and culturally and nationally. Greg challenges us to engage the teachings individually, relationally, and socially globally. What does this mean? And what will this mean? This is the path we're walking right now. The tenets of the whole life path, as Greg has written, encourage us to exclude nothing, to include every dimension of our whole embodied, complicated, contemporary lives. He calls for no teaching left out in so doing, even the ones we don't prefer or don't like or don't yet understand. And so we need to continue Dhamma study and contemplation, and to engage all teachings as practices. This is the tenet both Anita and I most easily recalled from our first reading, interestingly. To come and see for yourself, see for ourselves, not so much to make your own truth, but to make the truth our own real, embodied, manifest truth at the core and the heart of our lives and in all the details. To me, the sort of whole life path is whole heart path. And first and foremost, the first tenet, ground the path in the Dhamma. In these times of confusion, complexity, perplexity, despair, doubt, and emotional storms, I can always come home and return to the Four Noble Truths as a foundation, a scaffolding of the path. There is suffering, no doubt. There is a cause. There is an end. And the fourth noble truth is the Eightfold Path, the way, the path to the end of suffering for oneself and for others. And the end of suffering is the end of harming. And the end of harming is the end of suffering. Greg calls this an intentional path through the entanglements of this human life. So true. It's a path of wisdom and compassion, non-harming, of release from the bondage of self versus other, a path of peace. The 8 path factors, right view, intention, speech, action, livelihood, effort, meditation, sati, and samadhi. They are ordered. They're in a kind of order with right view first. And can each factor, and I'm sure we'll be doing this through the series, can be attended to separately, but all work together synchronously and synergistically to work their spiritual power. They circle around each other. Right view is the beginning and the end of the ongoing circle. Really interesting to kind of imagine into a form, a way to feel the Eightfold Path. The 3 groupings of the path, Panya, Sila, Bhavana, ground our whole lives in wisdom, wise action, and wise meditation. All together, this seems so real to me now of how these flow together, these 3 groupings. And each path factor is a gateway itself, a doorway to the whole path. As the Dhamma is holographic, one can enter at any gate and find the path to the whole. And each factor is endlessly alive for practice, as each chapter of Greg's book shows. I remember Joseph Goldstein saying that wise speech itself can take you to the end of the path. It will take you to all the other factors. Greg's unique exploration and emphasis on the relational understanding and practice of each path factor and of all factors together grows directly from the evolution of our shared relational meditation practices, insight dialogue, and Dharma contemplation, which draw us together today. In a few minutes, we'll be inviting each of you to reflect on your sense of path, how you arrived, how it has unfolded in your life. I would share a few moments that stand out for me, actually I'd say shine out to me as moments of sensing or knowing, finding path. Over this last month, contemplating this with Anita, I have recovered some very early moments that led up to the one I will share. This reminds me of the Buddha's recollection in a time of seeking direction in his own meditation, recalling the time as a very young child when he sat peacefully and relaxed under an apple tree. A kind of experience of the body, heart, and mind that helped him on his path of awakening, led him, really was a seed for the path, the unfolding of the path. I encourage you to contemplate your own path. It's fascinating too. I remembered really early Hansel and Gretel story. They together holding hands sprinkled breadcrumbs on the path so that they would always be able to find their way home. I remember that so vividly as an image for me. And I remember at 16, the first time I read The Noble Truth, and somehow that beacon of their suffering got through to me, another seed along the way. In my life, after many years of living a split outer life between my silent practice and my practice, relational practice I called sitting with, which was psychotherapy, I was seeking an integrated, cohesive path, no separation, and with greater depth of relational practice. After a chance meeting, is there chance? Yes, no. Meeting Gregory at a conference, I wound up, as many of us do, going to my first Insight Dialogue retreat at BCBS in 2008. And sometime in the middle of that retreat, a practice session in a group of 4 on the left-hand corner of the room, the hall, I had a powerful moment of insight, a heightened awareness that I still remember vividly. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but in that moment, I recognized this insight dialogue is my practice. And it was a practice that underlay my life, that made sense of my life in some way I didn't know yet. I recall that I almost heard the words, this is my practice. And then a sense, almost words or words of the heart anyway, I will follow this wherever it leads, where it may lead. There was a clarity of recognition, a sense of direction, an experience of resolve that has guided my life now for 17 years in very interesting terms. And I really want to emphasize that this is a unique experience in my life that I rarely know like this or hear a voice or have a vow take hold like this. So it was memorable. Where has this led me? To a very deep commitment to practice meditation, to dedicate my work in the world to learning everything I could about offering Insight Dialogue, to intense Dhamma study and contemplation, to joining in the Teachers Council and supporting and growing other teachers, and thinking deeply together about the future of Insight Dialogue, beyond Gregory, beyond all of us, how to support and grow into the next generation of teachers and practitioners as a practice and as a global community. Today, I'm also contemplating how I can serve as I grow older and am challenged to manifest this path in new ways as an elder in my life and in community. So I'd like to just end with a few reflections that have come more clearly to me as we've been contemplating this path. And I'll just share a few with you. First, there is an element of intentionality and choice. One can formally take refuge in the Buddha Dhamma, Buddha Sangha, Buddha Dhamma Sangha. One can take vows. Yet there's a strong sense of what I might call a karmic undertow of the Dhamma, moving us forward, not the other way around. So I guess it's both. There's intention and then there's something else afoot. 2, there may be moments of clarity when we can see and know our path, sometimes because we are deeply aligned, deeply embodied, perhaps on a retreat or in a deep talk. But also sometimes when we're lost or confused or feeling so very alone. we may find it there as well. 3, the path is deeply relational. We can encourage, support, share our practice toward the good, be on the path together. We can offer our perspectives, our experience, our practice, our hearts to building the momentum of a shared path of seeing and knowing with Sangha eyes. This element of a shared path and practice has been deeply meaningful to me in my time at following Insight Dialogue. 4, the path is not straight. There are twists and turns, lapses and rememberings. It's not laid out in front of us. I remember my friend put a sign up at a retreat. I still remember it. We make the path by walking it. The path is mysterious, so much we don't know and are learning. In the endorsements of Greg's book, which are fabulous in their own way, Bhante Sujato, brilliant monk with years of experience, says, quote, "The spiritual path is strange, and even after all this time, largely unknowable." So let's pause to consider this mature wisdom of not knowing. And 6, the path is omnipresent. It's everywhere and nowhere. As Aya Anupama reflects in her endorsement, through the words of Rohini from the Therigatha, a nun in Maddie Weingarth's poems of the first nuns, Rohini, the path isn't a line on the map. It's a great shining world. Enter wherever you like. And finally, the path to the end can be joyful. Along the way, joyful, finding our way together, joining together joyfully in shared uncertainty, not alone in it. And finally, finding our way to the diminishment of suffering in the moment and in our lives. I'd like to just end with a very favorite sutta of mine. It's the Ayaniso Manakasara Sutta, Unwholesome Attention. I have heard that on one occasion, a certain monk was dwelling among the Kosalans in a forest thicket. Now at that time, he spent the days abiding, thinking evil, unskillful thoughts, thoughts of sensuality, ill will, thoughts of doing harm and of harm done to him. Then the Devata, inhabiting the forest thicket, feeling sympathy for the monk, desiring his benefit, desiring to bring him to his senses, approached him and addressed him with this verse. It's a good spiritual friend. From inappropriate attention, you're being chewed by your thoughts. Relinquishing what's inappropriate, contemplate appropriately. Keeping your mind on teacher, Dhamma, Sangha, your virtues, you will arrive at joy, rapture, pleasure without doubt. Then, saturated with joy, you will put an end to suffering and stress. The monk, chastened by the Devata, came to his senses. He had this very inspiring sutta on spiritual friendship on this noble eightfold path. So as we move now towards contemplation together, thank you for your attention. Thank you for showing up. I'd like to invite us to take a few moments, maybe 5 moments, to pause. Just settle, pause after speaking. And this is a time if you need to take care of the body, you could do so. But just inviting a silence and a kind of reflection before the contemplation. So we'll be back at 10 after. think most of you are here. In a few moments, Nancy will bring you into breakout rooms for a practice, inviting you to pause together, introduce yourself if you don't know each other, and decide who will be first speaker, first listener. And each speaker will have about 6 minutes to reflect, to speak. Anita will be guiding you through by voice through the practice. And after the first contemplation, after both of you have spoken and listened, she will guide you into an open dialogue. To begin, you're invited to reflect or recollect or discover a moment, a time, an experience when the sense of path was known, alive, and recognized for you. What were the conditions that allowed this, if you can, if that makes sense to think about? And how has that unfolded in your life? The contemplation exact will be in the chat if you need to refer to it. So what was your experience of sense of path? And how has that unfolded for you in your life? Another way to contemplate this might be what drew you here to this insight dialogue practice community, and how has that unfolded in your life? So again, their contemplation will be in the chat. Anita will be guiding you through. So I will give you the bell, Anita, to begin.
Before you go into breakout rooms, when I enter the room, I'll ring a bell first. And that's a signal, if you're the speaker, to finish your thought, and then pausing for a moment before the second speaker takes their turn. Okay.
There. So it is my honor to speak very briefly about Donna. As I imagine you know, the Insight Dialogue community follows the centuries, millennia long practice of offering these precious teachings freely. And if you are moved to step into the stream of generosity with a financial contribution, we do have a Sunday Sangha fund set up that at the end of the series does support those that offer the practice on Sundays. I'm going to put that link in the chat right now. There you go. I'd like to, well, as I speak of Donna, I want to acknowledge the generosity of all of you who came to share your open-hearted presence, and especially those that came to speak in a language that is not their first language. I really appreciate your efforts to communicate with us in English. I'll remind you that we have another opportunity the first Sunday in October to meet together. That's Sunday, October 5th. That'll be our next practice. And I'll close in our last 90 seconds here with a metta offering. So just feeling my feet on the floor, feeling the breath in my lungs. This contemplation about the path and what it means to us made me think of Thich Nhat Hanh in his book, Peace is Every Step. How he speaks of walking as if our feet are kissing the earth. So may we all walk this path with gentleness and kindness. May all beings everywhere be supported by the three jewels. May our actions convey affection to all beings, sentient and otherwise. And may there be peace. May there be peace. May there be peace.